When life tries its best to back you off to a corner, when life gets its utmost might to squash you in that corner and leave you for dead, and when life takes away everything precious that you have or prevent you from getting even remotely close to them in order to watch you pathetically and helplessly rot and decay from the inside out, what would you do? Would you accelerate your decay and eventually your demise through endless deprecations and self-sabotage? Or would you rise to the occasion and give every last ounce of your being to fight back and claim or reclaim your utmost dignity? It is often said that a man who has nothing to lose is the most powerful and dangerous man you'll ever witness. And I agree, because a man who has nothing to lose has absolutely no fear. And a man who has absolutely no fear is a man who is completely free to exercise and unleash his utmost will. On the other hand, a man who has a lot to lose must be a lot more considerate in his approach, because he has a lot to protect and preserve, such as his reputation, people, and resources. And while the wealth of a man can certainly enforces his will, it is not what sparks and creates it. We all have desires in this life. Some desires are common and straightforward, such as the desire to procreate and have social interactions, and the desire to achieve independence and admiration. And behind every desire there is a reason or a collection of reasons governing our intentions and actions towards them. But often the reasons that came to mind and the ones that we and other people tend to understand to a great extent are very shallow and customary reasons which have been stated and explicated endless amounts of times before. However, there are some specific desires that are a lot deeper and darker than what it initially seems. One that is uniquely and exclusively personal, and this can only be noticed, understood, and determined by the individual himself. It can be a lifelong hidden ambition or a state of accomplishment one is dreaming of experiencing, but what ties them together is the deep-rooted connection and significance with one's character. And just like every other desire, there is a reason or a collection of surface-level reasons governing it. But unlike every other desire, there is another more complex yet blunt layers of rationales and motives behind them that are all combined to produce a reason or a cause that is so personally engraved within a man's cognition and emotions that he would deliver a soul-bound and defiant conduct to fulfill it, even if it means facing death. This very peculiar and distinct reason is a man's utmost will. And again, when I said it is particular and distinct, I mean only the individual himself and no one else can identify and fully understands it. To truly understand the state of nothing to lose, and to truly unlock that soul-bound reason and desire to live, a man must experience the lowest of lows in his life. Events that are so traumatic, desperate, and dire that they can bring a man to his own knees and start questioning his very own existence. Major heartbreak of a very long relationship, sudden loss of loved ones, many years of loneliness, abandonments, constant bullying, state of worthlessness, and many more. When everything is taken away from you, when life snatches all the important entities that meant everything to you, all that you have left is your character. A man can never fully discover and understand himself if he is rarely or never left with only his own being for company, reliance, and dependency. That is why some people whose life is going perfectly well for them so far will never know and understand the meaning of a man's will. They will never be able to identify that deep-rooted, soul-bound reason to live because they don't need to, since they never face the dire circumstances of life turning upside down on them. That being said though, there are unfortunately a lot of men who went through the lowest lows of their lives and are unable to discover their will to live, until eventually they succumbed to the darkness and decided to end the pain by their own hands. The reason for this is very simple and straightforward. A man who lost his will to live is a man who is desperately trying to associate his will with everyone and everything other than themselves. I must be able to live up to society's demands and expectations, otherwise I am nothing. My wife and kids hate me now. I must do everything in my power to make them love me like they used to. My parents despise me. I must please them in order to win their approval again. My girlfriend left me. I must do everything to get her back. I can't imagine a life without my one and dearest friend. The problem with trying to associate your will with other things and other people but yourself is that you are trying to control the outcome through controlling their state, decisions, and actions, which is impossible, and that you are depending your very own sense of worth through their perspective of you, which is extremely unreliable. Your very own soul-bound reason to live must be exclusive to your own personal cause that are independent of anything and anyone. Selfish? Self-absorbed? Egocentric? Absolutely. When you have nothing left, and when you have to depend solely on your very own being to survive, you must be purposefully selfish because you are the only tool you have left, and you must make the full use of yourself. But with all that being said though, there are always exceptions. For those of you gentlemen who are at the lowest point in your life and are currently wondering or are struggling to work out and identify the soul-bound reason to live, try to take a trip down memory lane. When you were kids all the way till you grew up, you would have encountered lots of people in real life or seen them in TV shows, movies, and video games. Identify those who stands out the most to you, both in a positive way and in a negative way. The people that you admire or aspire to be and the people that you despise and hate. Maybe it's your own uncle, maybe it's a superhero character, maybe it's the protagonist or the villain in a video game, or maybe it's the bullies or the people who have hurt you or used you in the past. Identify them and pick out the qualities that stood out from them. Both the good qualities that you want to develop and possess, and the bad qualities that you never want to even embody. Merge them together and resonate them with yourself and your innermost desires. The man whom you visualize is the man who you want to become. And through that visualization, ask yourself in the most truthful and vulnerable way, why do you want to be that man? And do not answer this question lightly. Answer this question with your most transparent and most visceral intent. And you may have to vent out your emotions in order to fully answer this question. But however you answer it, that answer is your soul-bound reason that you are looking for. And of course, it is very important for you to do this without the presence of anyone, and also be anywhere that people can't easily gain access to you. What a man who has nothing to lose possess is the greatest ability to choose. A choice whether to carry on to live in a defiant and valiant attempt to fulfill his innermost desires, even if it means losing himself in the process, or to seize everything and let himself drown in the dark waters that life has thrown him into. The lowest point in a man's life is the ultimate testament of his character and attitude that will define his future. It is only a matter of making that crucial and critical choice. Thank you for watching.